I think the moisture's there. I think the plants are probably doing what we want them to do. So I'm excited to see how this turns out.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the State of Soy. We're coming to you from east central Iowa, just outside of Wyoming, and you probably recognize this fella. Visiting with Andy Petersen. Andy, thanks for welcoming us out here to your farm. And first, you know, you've got a tremendous heritage in farm broadcasting, speaking, emceeing. People know you a lot through those lines of work, but you got a farming heritage too. Tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So fourth generation family producer here in southeastern Jones County. Best part of the state, in my humble opinion. I know you'll probably disagree. Clear over about as far as you can get.
West Bend.
Yeah, the other part of the state.
Yep.
But long-term no-till rotation, 50-50 cropping systems. Obviously the soybeans and the corn that you can see down there. Very much believers, I think, based on experience in the value of the no-till system as far as the soil health perspective goes, as far as increased water holding capacity. It was on display in a dry year last year. And I think it's on display in a wet year this year based on the stands that we have achieved.
Explain, what do you mean by that?
Well, when tillage occurs and it disturbs what Mother Nature has provided over the course of a winter, not that there was a ton of frost last year, however, we consistently and routinely find when we plant that Mother Nature will provide a very consistent seed bed for you. By and large, those planting conditions in the no-till system are very, very uniform. And if you think about it a little bit, it does make a lot of sense that you drag that piece of steel through the soil, and it all different soil types, different soil tilths all break up a little differently, right? Some of them are looser than others, some of them are finer than others, some of them are cloddier than others based on, you know, moisture and lots of different factors. And so far we have not found a way to put it back the way that Mother Nature left it. So inevitably that tillage pass then does affect your ability with the planter to achieve strong seed to soil contact, to achieve uniform depth placement, and ultimately to achieve that uniform picket fence stand that needs to be gotten in order to get the kind of yields that we're looking for.
And you're always looking to try new things. I know you've done some additions to the planter to try to improve that seed to soil contact.
Yeah, the soybean planter specifically this year, we put on the seed firmers, which in stand counts earlier this spring looked to be worth 10 to 15,000 plants per acre.
And you're planting what?
We're shooting for an average of right around 150, 151, whatever the prescriptions call for, which is again based on a number of different factors. We're only the first year into the seed firmers, and so we continue to see that a lot of the key planter attachments are as important in soybeans as they are in regard to establishing that corn stand.
Now, in the spirit of full disclosure, we were out here, it's July 9th, and we're in front of a stand of soybeans that you're pretty darn interested in. So give me the Cliff's Notes on why we're standing here.
I'm interested, or you're interested?
I think, well, and viewers are. We're all interested.
So this is our pursuit of 100 bushel soybean trial. There's 176.8 contiguous acres of soybeans here, founded in 1937, by the way, established Petersen Farms, Petersen Grain and Ag. But this is the second year of our 100 bushel soybean trial. Last year, obviously, with 5.25 inches of rainfall during the entire growing season, the moisture just wasn't there to support a 100 bushel yield. Like 71 or 72,
nice,
somewhere
on
around there.
5.25 inches.
Right, we've had 23 and a half since the 1st of March so far.
And we're July 9th.
And we're on July 9th. Rain makes grain, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And the value of the no-till soils, the increased water holding capacity, all of that stuff. If you look at the results, there's no question that there's something happening. And so with this program, it's sulfur, obviously, which we know from like Purdue University trials is worth 7 to 8 bushels, around that 25 to 30 units of sulfur applied pre-plant. And then there's a variety of foliar feeding that happens on the post-emerge herbicide pass with some more sulfur, some micros. There's a little bit of nitrogen actually that's applied too. And then that's supposed to happen around V3 or so, and then we were just out here, this is July 9th, we were just out here about 2.5 weeks ago with an additional foliar feeding pass. And then there will be some additional nutritional products that go on with the fungicide pass, which will be earlier than normal. We were looking a little bit earlier, and we don't see any pods yet.
Close.
But it's definitely R2 at full flower, so R3 is, I think, considered to be optimal timing on the fungicide, so there'll be a plane in the air, a helicopter in the air.
And what was the
before
plant
too
date
long.
again on this field?
Plant date on this one was April 13th and April 14th. This is the 6th year that we've been planting soybeans at the same time and or before we plant corn. The objective is to achieve flower by the solstice, right? The longest days of the year. It's essentially a big solar energy
And you
collector.
got there this year?
We did get there this year. First time in 6 years. A lot of that's heat. I think the moisture's there. I think the plants are probably doing what we want them to do. So I'm excited to see how this turns out. There's a lot to go yet, long way to go during pod fill and development.
So to that point, Andy, how will you be monitoring and what will you be looking for in this field from here through?
Well, ultimately,
we're looking
for nodes and we're looking for pods. The theory behind the nutritional products and the foliar feed is that it will create more branching on the soybean plants, which of course creates more nodes,
There you go.
which is where the pods come from.
Which is where the yield is made.
And the more pods, the more beans per pod, the more yield that you get. Even last year, with as dry as it was, we were getting pod counts of over 100 on a single soybean plant, which is pretty good. Obviously, the moisture wasn't there to fill them like we would have liked.
Are you planting the same variety as you did last year, or is it a different variety?
It's a different variety. These are a group 3 bean. There's a group 2.8 in this field that will get tested also. And then again, all planted over the course of the same 2 days, all sprayed at the same time, same fertility program. So the control factors are pretty much all in place here. And hoping for a big number from the weigh wagon and the yield monitor come fall.
To that point, we'll be following up with you, Andy.
Perfect.
But thanks for welcoming us out here. It's always exciting. It's interesting to visit with farmers who are trying some different things, and I know you and I have been in touch about this particular project that you're working on. We really wanted to come out and visit and talk shop a little bit. So
and I will also put a plug in for the Iowa Nitrogen Initiative
Yes.
that Iowa Soybean supports. It's just over there in the cornfield. Nothing to see there quite yet, but obviously as we get closer to black layer, then there'll be a little bit more of a visual on that.
Well, and again, kudos to you for tapping into those projects, those activities, those programs, and always trying, what's new and what can you do to maximize the land that you have. So Andy, thank you so much for visiting with us
Good
today.
to see you.
Reporting for this edition of the State of Soy from near Wyoming, Iowa, I'm Aaron Putsey.
Do you remember when you first believed that anything was possible? Do you remember when you had doubt? Obstacles you couldn't overcome? Do you remember when you pushed through the pain and refused to quit? Remember, He created you for this.